Hi, in this video we are going to do accounting for overheads, and please keep in mind that we are talking about overheads or the indirect costs and not about the prime cost or material or labor. Now when you have several departments in any company, and when I talk about departments, let me also tell you that there are production departments and then there are service departments. Production departments are those that where the product actually goes through in the making. For service departments, they provide support services to the production departments only. So right now we need to be aware of the production departments and the service departments providing support services to the production departments. So the product does not go through the service department, the product goes through the production department. So for instance, the production department could be assembly, could be stitching, could be cutting. So if you're in the clothing business, it could be stitching and it could be cutting. And if you're talking about the support service departments, in that case it could be maintenance, because they're providing maintenance services to the production departments, maintenance of the machineries. It could also be a canteen department, where by canteen will provide services as far as the food and tea and all is concerned to the production department. So the product does not go through the canteen or the maintenance department. The product goes through the stitching department, the cutting department, the assembly department, and so on. Now when you're incurring overheads, so we first need to know the overheads for each department. Now for that, the first thing that we need to be aware of, that there are some overheads that are allocated. Now when I say allocated overheads, that basically means overheads that are directly attributable. Allocated overheads are those that are directly attributable to those particular departments. So for instance, for a department, if you've hired a separate person, a person who works in that department only, he is specific for that department and his salary will be allocated, will be given to that particular department only. Now there are some overheads that are general in nature, or they come in as one such cost that needs to be then divided or apportioned to the respective departments. So that is what is known as the apportionment of the overheads. Now what that means is that that is basically one overhead that is being divided into the respective departments. For instance, if you have a rental cost, and if you're saying that the rental cost is, let's say, a 90,000 in total, and you have three departments, so how would you apportion them? You will apportion them based on the floor area. The higher the floor area, the more the rental to be charged for that particular department. I'll come to an example on that as well. So for all those overheads, we need to apportion them to their respective departments. Then after we are done with apportioning the overheads, there is the reapportionment of the service cost centers. So reapportionment of the service departments overheads. Now what that means is that since the support service departments are providing services to the production departments, their overheads also need to be apportioned or given to the production departments, so that the entire overheads that have been charged are to the production departments only, and hence there will be no overhead left for the support service departments. We'll look into that question as well. So the process is that you first allocate the overheads which are directly attributable to those departments only. Then you apportion the overheads based on a suitable basis. As far as the example that we took was rental, where we took the floor area. Then after you're done with that, we will then reapportion the service departments overheads to the production departments only. Now let me first give you an example on the allocation. Now all this is basically recorded in an overhead analysis sheet. Now an overhead analysis sheet is basically listing down all the overheads for all the departments, allocated, apportioned, and then reapportioned as well. And then at the end you will only be left with overheads for the production departments. We'll look into that question in a bit. And the example that I would want to give you is, for instance, if you have three departments, and let's say department A, department B, and department C, and if I tell you that the total rental for a month is, let's say, $90,000, and you need to apportion it amongst the three departments. So the best way to do that is to take the floor area. And if I tell you that the floor area is in square meters is 30, 15 and 15. Now this is simple math now. Now if I want the rental that is to be apportioned to department A, what I would do is I would first total the area, which is 30 plus 15 plus 15, which is a total of 60. Now what I will do for the rental for department A is simply 30 divided by a total of 60 into the total cost, which is 90,000, comes out to be 45,000. Same thing in here, 15 upon 60 into 90,000, which is 22,500, and same thing for the last one as well. So this is how you would apportion the overheads for each department, and we'll look into all the other examples that are there as well. We'll do an example on this, and then we will see how we'll allocate. Allocated will already be given to you for all departments. Apportionment is what you will have to do based on a suitable basis. Then reapportionment for the service cost departments, you total all the service departments overheads and you apportion it according to, sometimes so the basis will be given to you, and in a lot of the cases we'll see there will be some other basis that we'll use, so it will always be a suitable basis. Rent, it'll be floor area. For power, it'll be kilowatt hours that will be given, and you will be basing it on that. If you talk about the depreciation for the equipment, so that will be done on the value of the equipment and so on. So let's look at a question from a past paper and then see how we deal with these kind of questions. So this is a question from November 2003, and let's read the question first. It says Darnick Holdalls Limited manufactured 3 types of high quality handmade cases, small, medium and large. These are manufactured in 2 departments, cutting and the stitching. There are also 2 service departments, maintenance and canteen. The estimated data is as follows. You've been given the production units for small, medium and large, machine hours required per unit, unit selling price, prime cost, where you have material, labor for the cutting department, labor for the stitching department for all the 3 units that you're making. Then you have the estimated overheads for the year ending 31 December 2004. For space costs, you've been given a total of 90,000. For depreciation, you've been given a total of 200,000. Allocated overheads are given for each department, that has already been done. In the additional information, I have the floor area, I have the number of employees, and I have the cost of equipment. The question says, use the grid below to prepare an overhead analysis sheet for the year ending 31 December 2004, detailing overheads for the cutting and the stitching departments. Canteen costs are shared amongst all other departments on the basis of number of employees. Maintenance is shared between the production departments on the basis of 70% to stitching and 30% to cutting. Now the overhead analysis sheet that they've already made for us, as far as the format is concerned, is that they have the overheads in here. They have cutting, stitching, maintenance and canteen department overheads. Now coming back to the question, now the overheads that we have in this particular question are space costs, depreciation and the allocated. When you'll be writing it down, allocated will simply be a copy paste, this. That will be simply as it is. For the space cost, you have a total of 90,000. Now that 90,000 needs to be apportioned between these 4 departments. Now that the suitable basis for that is floor area. Space cost like rental will be based on floor area. The higher the floor area, the more the cost will be. So what you will do is you will total all of this, 5,000 plus 6,000 plus 2,000 plus 2,000. So that gives you a total of 15,000 as the total total floor area. And if I need to do it for the cutting department, what would I do? I would simply do a 5,000 divided by 15,000 into 90,000, which comes out to be 30,000. In the same way, 6,000 divided by 15,000 into 90,000. For maintenance, 2,000 divided by 15. How do I get 15? 5,000 plus 6,000 plus 2,000 plus 2,000. That's the total floor area. 2,000 upon 15,000 into 90,000. So that's how you would apportion the cost, the space cost, to all the 4 departments, sorry, in this case. Then comes in the depreciation. You've been given 200,000. Now for depreciation, you will be basing it on the cost of the equipment. So the higher the cost, the more the depreciation will be. So the total cost of the equipment that you have is 700,000, 850,000, 250,000 and 200,000, and that gives you a total of 2 million. So for the depreciation for cutting department, what would you do? 700,000 divided by 2 million into 200,000, which is 70,000, sorry. Then 850,000 divided by 2 million. 2 million is the total of this equipment into 200,000. In the same way, you will do it for the maintenance and the canteen department.